Hi class. So today we are going to be talking about prepositions of time. Okay, so what are prepositions of time? Prepositions of time are prepositions that are used to discuss a specific time period. So prepositions of time can be the same words as prepositions of place, and we discussed those last week, but we use them in a different way. So they can be used to describe things like time, dates, and seasons. And because many of these prepositions are so similar and have many different uses, it's important to know how to properly use these prepositions of time in order to clearly communicate what we mean. Okay, so we have some examples here: in, on, and at. So these are the most commonly used prepositions of time. So we're going to be focusing on these for the majority of our lesson today. All right, so in is used for a period of time, and it's the most general description of time. On is used for a day or a specific date, and it's more specific than in. So it's a more specific description of time than in. And at is used for a specific point in time, and it's the most specific description of time. Okay, so here are some examples. We can use in to describe years, such as 2020, months, such as December, weeks, like this week or next week, seasons, such as summer or winter, and parts of the day, such as the morning or the evening. We can use on to describe days of the week, like Monday or Friday, dates, such as December 6th, specific days, such as my birthday, and day plus part of the day, such as Sunday morning. Okay, and we can use at to describe hours, like 8 a.m. or 4 p.m., and time, such as midnight, lunch, or at the moment. Okay, so notice how these examples get more specific as we go down our triangle. Okay, so depending on how exact you want to be with your description of time, that will change which preposition of time you use. So here are some other examples. Okay, so I ate breakfast in the morning. We use in because we're describing a part of the day. The next one here is I ate breakfast on December 5th. We use on because we're describing a specific date. Okay, and I ate breakfast at 9 a.m. Okay, so we use at because we're describing a specific time. Okay, so at the bottom of the screen here, you can see we've got a timeline with event X on the left side and event Y on the right side. So it might be helpful to see that in describes a period of time. So you can see at the bottom of the timeline there, in is happening over a span of time between events X and Y. You can also see that at and on are both happening in one specific period of time between events X and Y. Okay. So we can also add the word time after these other prepositions, and it changes the meaning of the prepositions of time, okay? So let's go through some examples. If we add time to in, we have in time. An example of this is if you hurry, we should be just in time to catch the train. So this means you will not be late, but it might be close. Okay, on time, for example, try to arrive on time, which means you should arrive at the time you were told to. Okay, at the time, for example, mom called, but you were in the bath at the time, meaning at the moment when she called. Okay, at one time, for example, at one time you could get penny candy for just 1 cent. Okay, so this means at some point in time, this was true. Okay, and the last one here, at times, for example, she can be a little childish at times. So this means sometimes. She's not childish all the time, but she can be a little childish sometimes. Okay, and then we have some other prepositions of time here as well. So, since, for example, since the 1960s, since breakfast, or since May. So that's since the point in time, for example, the starting point. Okay, for 1 week, for several years, or for a long time. This is for a period of time. So, for example, starting at X and finishing at Y. During the night, during the concert, during August. Okay, so this is during a period of time, but not necessarily the whole period. Okay, until the end of the lesson, until Friday, until tomorrow. So that's until a point of time. For example, stopping only when that point is reached. Okay, the next one here is by. So by Monday, by 5 o'clock p.m., by next week, or by January. Okay, so that's by a point in time. So that's no later than Y, okay, but perhaps before. Okay, next here is between blank and blank. So between now and then, or between April and June, for example. So that's describing something that happened between two times. So between X and Y, something happened within that period of time. Okay, our last one here is from blank to blank. So from now until the end of the week, from December to January. Okay, so from time X being the start to time Y being the end. Okay, and it would occur over that whole period of time. Okay, so now we have our activity time. All right, so I want you guys to have this completed by our next class. So please go to padlet.com. You can use the link on this slide, but I have also emailed it to all of you. Okay, and then using the story written on the next slide, I'll show that to you guys. Please add points to the timeline on Padlet. Okay, so you can use the plus sign to add points, and you can use the circles to drag them around and reorder them if you need to. Okay, so I want you to add the points on the timeline that are described in the next story. Okay, so please make sure the events are listed in order of how they happen in the story and include as many time words and prepositions of time as you can. Okay, so here's the story here for you guys. I'm going to be sharing this slideshow so you can pause it and you can have a look at the story for as long as you need to. And that wraps up today's lesson. So thank you all for joining me and watching this video. And I look forward to seeing your answers and your timelines on Padlet before class on Monday. All right, thanks.